Hi, so I'm Kyle, and I'm going to talk to you guys about costume design. So, costume design, you don't really need education of sorts, but it's recommended because it separates you from the pack. So, some of the education you can get is some costume and fashion design, bachelor's degrees. They also offer certificates that you can get, but it's recommended that you get them, but it's not very common that a lot of people get them. The most important thing that you get is experience. Now, whether that's an internship or a job working something else along with costume design, that's really what they're looking for, is seeing that you're able to produce. Portfolios are also very important because it shows you work that you've created, ideas that you have, productions that you've worked with. So those are really important. It's like your resume when you're coming in. So that's what you hand other film companies, that when you're applying for a job, that's your resume, that's your CV. That shows that you were able to produce for them. Some background in fabric work and tailoring, that just shows that you're able to make your own and that you're able to create for yourself as well. Now, as far as pay, the lower 20% makes about $10 an hour. The median salary an hour is $12 or $13 an hour, and then the upper 20% is around $30 an hour. Now, this equates to about $57,000 for the average salary if you're working this with time off and whatnot, and like under 40 hours a week. But I've seen between $52,000 and upwards of mid $60,000s on how much this is. It kind of depends on what website you look at, but around the range of between $50,000 and $60,000 is about the average salary for a costume design. Now, I think the best place to live in if you're a costume designer is Georgia, and the reason why is because compared to other high-demand costume design places such as California, New York, even Florida, high production areas, it's a lot cheaper to live in Georgia than it is California and New York. And this is because taxes and just other things that encompass it. But as far as the demand for a costume designer and the ability to get a big production to work with, Georgia's like the East Coast is the East Coast version of Hollywood. So it's a really high film industry area over there, especially in Atlanta. Like The Walking Dead and even The Hunger Games were filmed there. So it's like I said, it's the East Coast version of Hollywood. So there's a demand for it there, and it's just a lot cheaper to live there. I'm sure we all know Edna Mode, who's really famous for The Incredibles. Now, this is one costume designer who has the ability to create super suits, who, when she makes them, she's able to harness the powers of the superhero she makes them for. So, for example, Elastigirl, she can make a super suit that stretches infinitely as long as she can. For the Jack boy, she can make a super suit for him that can indicate whatever superpower he's about to use and kind of guess what he's using and change the suit before he uses it to fit that superpower. Whether it be he turns into like a little monster or catches on fire spontaneously. So, and like I said, one of her famous lines is "no capes," and it's just, I'm sure you guys all know her. So Catherine Martin, she's a real life costume designer. She's a little bit more famous. She has won 4 Oscars and 5 BAFTAs, and she's also won a Tony. She got a degree in the arts at Sydney College of the Arts and East Sydney Technical College. She's worked with The Great Gatsby and even Romeo and Juliet. And what makes her valuable is that not only is she a costume designer, but she's also a production and a set designer as well. So this really enhances her work and separates herself from all the other just costume designers. So she's able to have a hand on the set and the production and kind of mesh her costumes with the set. So it makes her more valuable as she's able to do more things. And this goes back to the experience rather than the education. That she has an experience with this, so she's able to separate herself, like I said. Now, Mary Zofres is more like a middle-of-the-pack costume designer. She's won a Hamilton Behind the Camera Award, but she was also nominated for multiple BAFTs. She went to Vassar College, but not necessarily for costume design. She's worked on True Grit, La La Land, and The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is on Netflix, by the way, if you guys wanted to watch and see her costumes for yourself. But like I said, when she went to Vassar College, she went there for fashion industry rather than the film industry. So she knew she wanted to do something with costumes, but on top of that, she had to transition from fashion to film industry. This is important because it's a little bit different from each other, but they still kind of intertwine at the same time. So, like I said about the internships, she started as an unpaid intern, which is really important because a lot of people coming out of college expect to get paid right away. And that's not the case. A lot of times you're starting at the bottom of the totem pole. You're making $10 an hour and you got to work your way up to get the big bucks. So she started as an unpaid intern and worked up to be a costume designer, and she got the chance to do that when her boss got sick and she was an associate costume designer. And when that happened, she took over when their boss was sick, and then they saw, hey, she can do pretty good work. So they gave her a shot, and now her and her previous boss are working joint together, and they do costume design with each other. So this just goes to show that it's important to have experience more so rather than education, but they both go hand in hand to each other. When you are taught on the job, it's the same as being taught in the classroom. So, yeah, these are my references. And yeah, I mean, I chose costume design just because when I was growing up, I would spend a lot of time editing my character when I would play video games, editing its appearance, its armor, and creating my own stuff. And I just figured I enjoyed doing that, like being able to create something for my own and present to people and allow them to participate in it and see what I made. And it made me proud, and it brought happiness to me. So that's why I chose costume design.